Hey guys, Sign here with HobbiesofaMan once again, and today we're going to be doing another comic book review. Today we're going to be jumping back into the Frazetta-Verse here by looking at Frank Frazetta's Tales of Science Fantasy. This specific issue, which is issue 2 in this quarterly series, it basically means it comes out every 3 months, is written by Aaron Gregory. It has art by Sedat Özgen, I guess. That sounds kind of Turkish to me, but I'm not really sure. It's colored in by Omi Remalant Jr. And the lettering here is by Jacob Baskell, who does the lettering for just about every Frazetta project that there is. It's published by Opus, so you guys can see right there. This is issue 2, although this has a misprint where it's still labeled as issue number 1. Not really sure why that happened, but it is what it is. They confused the heck out of my my local comic book store though. And yeah, so this story is called Requiem for Sharks. And it's based on this painting. And honestly, the story does not match this painting at all. And I actually quite disliked this story. I didn't really like it at all. I think I rated it at 2 out of 5 on League of Comic Geeks. But I would really just never read this again beyond talking about this review. I don't really enjoy it at all. I didn't think it matched the picture. It didn't really have anything meaningful to it, and that kind of sucks because I don't really want to go in hating these books, but nothing about this appealed to me at all, and it kind of sucked. The artwork isn't really a saving grace either. There's only one part of this whole thing besides the cover that I like art-wise, and that is the style in which one of the characters is depicted, and that's because it's a character that seems very similar to a character from other Opus works, other Frank Frazetta based works that I like, that I think has been recently redesigned that in a way that I don't enjoy. And so looking at it in this version appeals to me, but other than that, I don't really like it. So the cover depicts this kind of, I would say, serene kind of vibe here between this great white shark and this, she looks like a white woman to me because, you know, if there's like a yellow tinge to this white part of the shark here, and the same kind of yellow tinge here on this woman, I would assume that she is, you know, more of a pale skin kind of character. And I really like that painting. And the story that we got presented here doesn't really match at all. So the story to me kind of feels like torture porn, if that makes sense. I think that's a bit too much of a strong way of explaining it, but I don't really know how else to kind of mention it, talk about it. It's just kind of grotesque for the sake of being grotesque, and it's not actually enjoyable or meaningful in any way, or at least it doesn't come off like that to me. So basically we start with this pirate ship, literally in the middle of the ocean. There's nothing around them, and they're talking, they're kind of, you know, kind of just joking around with each other, and you realize quite quickly that these guys are cannibals. They're eating a person. They throw kind of the leftovers of a person overboard that's kind of mangled, and then a bunch of sharks eat it. And then they keep talking, and we get to see that they're kind of seen by the Sea Witch character, which is the one that I was talking about earlier. I don't like how I think his name is Alex Medellin has been portraying her in the Death Dealer comic. I liked her original design better, and I think the way that she looks here is probably the best way that I like looking at this character, looking at the Sea Witch. The version here is the best by far, because she looks like an ocean creature to an extent. She's blue, she has these sharp teeth, and she's also quite beautiful, and she doesn't have this weird, like, receding hairline that she usually has in Death Dealer. But she's not that important at this point in the story. We see that she sees these cannibals, and then we go back to the cannibals who are talking, and one of them has a telescope out, and they see very far in the distance that there's this populace of natives that are kind of out hunting, fishing for things. And so the cannibals decide to go after them. And the natives see them off, you know, far away, but close enough that they're kind of afraid of them. And so they decide to try to get home as fast as they can. And then cut, bam, splash page onto basically all of these natives that we just saw and many more in the kind of the below section of the ship. I don't know if it's called the gallows or the bellows, the bottom section of the ship, right? The hold of the ship. And they're all kind of strapped to these kind of like meat hooks basically. And then we just get to see a bunch of torture situations kind of happened on these natives. And it's not fun. It's very disgusting and ugly and grotesque to look at. And they start to eat some of them in specific ways that are kind of very horrible. And then the sea witch decides that the girl character that we see has had her innocence broken in such a way that she deserves the chance to get revenge. And so the sea witch breaks the ship, tells her to run, and helps her into the water. When the girl's in the water, she sees a shark. We get a scene similar to the cover where the girl and the shark kind of meet, see each other, and then what happens next is that she becomes the shark. She kind of encompasses herself with the shark, and so now we have this weird shark-human hybrid, but it's not like a mermaid. It's literally a shark with like a human head on its, like what would be its chest basically. And again, it's just grotesque. It doesn't look good. And so now she decides to reap her vengeance on these cannibal dudes by just eating the shit out of them. And the story ends with the shark going off into the sunset with the sea witch writing it. And I didn't like it. I thought it was pretty shitty. It was not a good story. Like I said, it felt like torture porn, and there was nothing interesting here because the story of the painting, the way that the painting describes this, is kind of this like, I would say mystical kind of like connection between these two creatures. Not necessarily something that implies violence, more something like serene, right? And the story is anything but any of those feelings. And it's not really interesting at all. It is just kind of ugly for the sake of being ugly. And I don't usually have issues with it. Honestly, I don't have an issue with this necessarily. I have an issue with the fact that the story doesn't match the painting at all. And you would hope that they would. Otherwise, why are you using this painting as your baseline? And honestly, it seems kind of shitty to make the characters that are suffering this natives, and then to have this kind of almost like African slave trade kind of imagery associated with this, kind of really harshly. I don't know, something about it just rubs me the wrong way. And I'm not saying anything about the author or the artist or anything. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that the imagery invokes a certain level of feelings in me that are not compulsive to me enjoying what I'm reading. And I didn't like that. I didn't find this to be enjoyable at all. But that's enough of me ripping apart this thing. I hope I'm not offending anyone that found this enjoyable, and I'm hopefully not offending the authors because I didn't mean to. I'm just saying this doesn't work for me. And generally speaking, it just comes off really shitty to me, and I didn't like it. And so, you know, I'm not meaning to offend anyone, but if it does, that's fine. I guess that is part of the consequence of doing something like this. So, yeah, it doesn't work for me. I hope it works for some other people that are reading this. And at this point, we're kind of 2 for 0, basically. So neither of the 2 stories that have been in this have worked for me. But the fact that it's only once every quarter means that I don't really mind too much. I quite liked some aspects of the first story. So even if I dislike this one completely, I'm not getting rid of this from my list yet. But I'm certainly thinking about it because I didn't like this. So there you go. That's my thoughts here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought if you read it. And if you haven't, let me know what you think about what I've said. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching, and see you guys later.